This here is the new version of the super unique Mazda MX-30. It was very interesting because with their first series EV, Mazda started off with a huge buzz, 250,000 views on our driving review. Everyone was hyped about small, compact, affordable EV and then also this premium interior from Mazda.
What? That didn't work out so well, right? I mean, range-wise, and also they didn't sell it, right?
Well, yeah, honestly, I mean, 200 kilometers or like 125 miles as pure electric range didn't work out so well indeed. And I mean, yeah, didn't sell so well as well, that's true. And they even cancelled now the EV sales in the US. So, but still, I mean, people love it and they come up now with a rotary engine as range extender. Plug-in hybrid if you want it in the other way, you know, depending on the definition.
Wow, so they still need my petrol.
Yeah, but they use this range extender or rotary engine in an efficient way. So overall you have more range. And the funny thing is, it still drives all electric.
So, what? Why is it still driving electric? What is this?
Well, I think it's time to find out more about this one with Thomas in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. So let's start with the most complicated things to clear things up. So they started with the all-electric version and the net battery capacity size around 32 kilowatt hours. Usually it only published the gross figures, but so we calculated that for you. Now they kind of cut the capacity in half. So only about 16 kilowatt hours net, but then you have this rotary engine, which has a lot of heritage at Mazda, called Wankelmotor as well. This is then the German name for it. And the key thing of this one is that the piston actually doesn't only move up and down, but kind of like in this rotary style. So that is actually the funny thing about this. Has, you know, it's overall very small, has low vibrations and so on. These are the advantages. Usually the disadvantage is that it has a very high consumption. They use it, for example, in sporty vehicles like the RX-8. But then again here, it is serving just as a generator, therefore staying at a constant RPM level. It's supposed to be then more efficient in this 0.8 cubic engine. So whereas the normal all EV version had just like 200 kilometers or 125 miles of range, this here combined some 600 kilometers or 370 miles, something around that. So the electric range is also cut in half, like maybe 80 kilometers now or something, 50 miles. But then you have also then this range extender range from a 50-liter gas tank. That's about the technical facts. Two more things maybe. The acceleration figure here at about 9.1 seconds, 170 horsepower, whereas with the pure EV version it was 9.7 seconds. So it's now also a little bit quicker. Everything front-wheel drive, 135 kilograms more weight, and especially of course here a lot of that on the front axle. Then again it gives you a little bit more traction. We'll find out in the driving if that plays any role. But now let's check out the exterior and also the very unique interior. A three-dimensional housing here for the headlamps, beautiful work. Soul red crystal is one of the very cool exterior colors. I mean, just exterior wise, I think a very attractive job. 4 meters 40 or 173 inches is the vehicle length. And here we have equipped 18-inch wheels. The only thing that people usually don't like that much are that the wheel clanks here maybe are a little bit too large. This here, the special rotary engine logo then for this very new version. And you can see this stretched roofline here, coupe style. And you can also now get here these two-tone paints, for example, a black accentuation on top, but you can also get other ones on the top, so you can play a little bit more with the design. And on the rear, once again, three-dimensional standing out tail lamps. So design-wise, there's never been a problem to sell this one. It was more about the low range. Yeah, probably that one is better now. But what about the interior? Key fob, nothing special. Door closing sound. It's quite okay. What about the rear door closing sound? Okay, that's not so special. But now I always want to fool around with this one. Because most obviously, here, you cannot close this one first and then this one. So it always has to go the other way around. This one first. Yeah. And that's of course not that interesting or not that good. when you want to drop off the kids at school. Then again, when they're really small, you can say, hey, it's a safety thing because you have to help them first. They can't just go on the street and get overrun. Yeah, you get the picture. But of course, for showing off on camera, this is awesome. Look at that. Looks so great that you can have a full view to the interior. Different fabrics are available also high-grade leatherette for the seats. The only thing that's not animal-free would be the steering wheel. Everything else is animal-free material, also sustainably sourced and so on. Then there's cork use on the middle console, also inspired by Mazda heritage because they obviously first started as a cork company. So very cool interior, has always been fascinating, and again different styles are available. Let's get in the seat in the front. And the most interesting thing I found between these two engine versions, so in some markets they will now sell both parallel, pure EV and the REV. On the interior they will be the same, and they will be sold at the very same price. That's also a new concept. Here 189 or 6 for 2, I still have a lot of headroom left, although this is essentially a small vehicle. And here, this panoramic roof, you can have this manual shade. And when I hit on the ignition here, there we go, we can also open that one. So it's a small roof we can actually also open. That's also fancy, right? When you open these doors, these suicide doors here. Wait a minute, Mazda doesn't call it suicide because it would be negative. I think they name it like freestyle doors or something. Yeah, why not? I always think of freestyle motocross then when I hear that. But actually what I want to tell you here is we jump to the other side because of this one here. Because on the passenger side, then you can pull here and then fold and also slide that seat forward to jump into the rear. Actually, filming-wise, what we just did is a so-called Achssprung. Listen and repeat, Achssprung. That's like jumping the axle. And you know, I studied journalism, and everyone told us back in the days, you can never do that filming-wise because you know you always have to shoot from one axle. You know, when you have like a filming education, you know what I mean. But actually today, I think these rules don't count anymore because why not jump on the other side? You know, who cares? And which viewer does know an Achssprung? Okay, that was my filming education thing for today. Here, I mean, yeah, the bench is really short. See the angle of my knees here. Headroom-wise, it does exactly fit for tall adults, yes. But legroom-wise, it will never work. You see it here, when I have the seat set to my driving position, and now there's the time where you have these time codes, Thomas in the rear seats, and everyone makes fun of me when I'm squeezing myself in tiny vehicles. Yeah, that won't really work. However, I have these controls here at the back of the seat of the driver. Interesting, racing here on the parking lot. So I can also push it forward or backward electronically. So that is possible, but I will never fit behind a driver. It could be possible that you fit 3 adults in here when you put the co-driver seat a little bit more forward or something. Middle console in lower part, cork insert, that's actually cool. Then the USB-A chargers too. On top of that, this flying console, you have a lower screen for the climate unit actually. But it has both. It has touch control, but at the same time it has rear controls, you know, for old school guys like me who also prefer that, and also you have the temperature control, so I really appreciate that. This and the shifting lever, there you control driving modes, charge. If you want to hold a certain battery status, maybe for a later emission zone, usually you will not use that, it's also not efficient at all. Then you have a normal driving mode and then more down the EV driving mode to force the car to drive EV until it's empty in the battery. The interesting thing is, when you stay in the normal driving mode, it will empty the battery, you know, in the hybrid driving mode until a status of like between 40 and 50% and keep it in that state for the best longevity of the battery. Then you basically drive with all the fuel you have, and if that is then empty, then the rest of the battery is emptied. That's again the normal driving mode. Once again, if I pull down for the EV driving mode, then the whole battery is emptied first and then the fuel tank. What makes more sense to you really depends on your driving profile. Usually, probably for most efficient driving, leave it in the normal mode, let the car do its thing. Then here, some space in the middle console, and a clever trick here. Cup holders open, or you fold these down, then you have an almost even transition here with the cork field. Then you have the cup holders covered here for a more beautiful space. Cockpit overview here with the steering wheel, menu control, in and out, up and down, and real buttons at the steering wheel with clicking sounds like that. Digital instruments in the middle, and then this horizontal screen here, soft touch dashboard, and is actually kept pretty simple, not too much to discover there. Usually you use the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and you control it from this pressing turning lever below. About the touch here, that is actually not possible. So this is here a very interesting digital analog mix. Seen that? So we have real physical arrows. They also have this welcoming thing in the middle part, digital screen, and there you have then what's left of the petrol range and the electric range. See at the moment both is towards half. You see it on the right side. Left side then for recuperation and the charge thing then, or when you use all the power. So it's actually pretty clear. What's also interesting is when you put it to the charge mode, or when you really floor it down, then you would see like this rotary engine symbol appearing here to know that the engine is on. And they also offer a decent head-up display. Oh, I will see rotary. Trunk or boot is at 370 liters, not too much. However, it's a good meter or 40 inches in length. Wait a minute. Isn't that the head of the guy we just met? That's strange. So, a meter or 40 inches in width, and the length here is about, yeah, like 80 centimeters or 32 inches. And here, when I fold the seats, at the first side it doesn't go down fully, but then you have to do a trick. So you have to move the seats forward, then let it fall down, and then you can move it a little bit more backward again that you can properly sit, and then it also works. And a very interesting option, here there's a full power socket in the boot, and then only the REV offers here the 1500 watt power, and that is actually drained from the hybrid battery and not from the 12 volt battery. Very important, because only then it makes sense in a camping sense or something to charge something, or maybe like, you know, some, I don't know, a barbecue, or if you power up your sub or something. So real power use, and this is then a very good camping use, unlike other solutions where they really drain power from the 12 volt battery and you have to keep the engine running and so on. Oh wait, one more thing. Here, fuel on the driver's side, and then we go around to the other side, to the passenger side, where we have then the electric charging possibility. So you can also still externally charge it. 11 kilowatt AC, maximum 36 kilowatt DC. That's of course not so much in DC charging, but however, it's also not a big battery. Let's start with the German motorway here in Thomas's driving lounge. And at the moment we're driving 90 kilometers an hour. And let's see if we can actually reach the top speed here. Let's go. Rolling, 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 rolling. Plop, that's it. 140 kilometers an hour. 144 we can score. And so usually when the battery is really full, it can happen that it drives all EV, also in harsh acceleration, but most of the time when you pin it down, then also the rotary engine is being activated for most power output. And this at the moment here, top speed. Of course, for a German Autobahn, that is not much at all, but that might just be a pure German problem, actually. Here, when I'm really at higher speeds and there's also more wind noise and so on, then of course the sound of the rotary engine doesn't play such a big role because the wind noises are actually more prominent. Suspension-wise, the car also feels good here at like 130 kilometers an hour, like 70, 80 miles an hour and so on. Let's do a lane change, see about suspension. Doesn't shake up too much, and actually feels quite nice and sporty. Remember, there's only a torsion beam in the rear, so not the most sophisticated rear axle, but overall, I think a very likable feeling, especially again with this very nice steering feel, crisp and direct. Small commands are being transported to the road directly, and I'm looking forward to some more agile driving with that one. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel too bad on the motorway. It's maybe not the best noise insulation at really high speeds, that you have to note. But overall, it's fine as long as you don't need a higher top speed. This top speed of 140 kilometers an hour, or 85 miles an hour, something like that, is, by the way, the same in the all-electric mode and also in the combined mode. And the car is always, at least in the normal mode, switching back and forth, so sometimes you don't even realize when the engine is on or not. As I said, at least when you are at higher speeds. But that can be way different when we drive a little bit slower. First of all, before we leave the motorway, assistance systems here with blind spot monitor as a yellow triangle in the side mirror, and when I hit the turn indicator then I also get an acoustic warning, and I can also set the cruise control here right at the side of the steering wheel. Nice clicking feedback from the steering wheel buttons. It's also pretty cool, and you can also activate or deactivate an active lane keeping assist. And let's see how does that one perform. Just one steps here. There we go. So far, very smooth. But, okay. Sure I didn't hold there. Let's do it again. Be sure it's really activated. Didn't catch it yet. There needs to be also a green symbol here for the active steering, but that didn't do it. So obviously it takes a while until the system catches the active lane keeping assist, and certain parameters need to be met. With other vehicles I've experienced that they catch that one earlier. So here actually it's quite late that this active lane keeping is being kept. So you always have to pay attention that it's really activated when that small steering wheel symbol there is green. Now getting off the motorway, looking forward to the driving agility. Where we go a little bit faster in the Ausfahrt of the Autobahn. Listen and repeat, Ausfahrt. That's the exit of the motorway. But sounds a little bit cooler than exit, doesn't it? Right? Or especially when we switch the motorways here from one to another, that's always a lot of fun because you can have kind of like a high-speed corner. And once again, the driving feeling they have here is just awesome. Been driving the CX-60, the way larger, heavier one, so many times now. And this one here, the Mx-30, has the original Mazda driving feeling, so that you really feel connected. Driver, steering wheel, vehicle, road, everything kind of feels connected. So from the pure driving dynamics here and so on, that is really awesome. Now let's do an acceleration from standstill, and also a little bit in the corner. Let's see how much I can control the vehicle, because all of the power is being sent to the front wheels. Let's go. Plop, that's 100. I mean, yeah, something 9 seconds, not super quick. A little bit quicker than the all-electric version. And did you hear the rotary engine going on? How did you find that sound-wise? Not sure how much you can feel and hear from that actually over the microphone. And let's also see if that changes anything when I'm into the EV mode. So when I'm slowing down and I'm in the pure EV mode here and then really slow it down, if it stays, shut down the engine. It does. So that's possible. Yeah. Accelerates out. So when you have this pure EV mode, then the rotary engine stays shut down. However, the battery needs to have a certain level for that. And they say that when it's above 70%, it's kind of like always. Below 70%, things might happen that also then, if you are in the EV mode and pin it down, it's still getting activated. So it always depends on the situation. And here now, a little bit of slalom, right and left, or left and right. That's so much fun. There you feel the agility of the vehicle. Don't really feel that it's 130, 135 kilograms heavier than the EV version. I mean, this more weight on the front axle can also be good for acceleration, traction and so on. But yeah, so being like a city EV here, like it was before, still a great use case for that, because you feel that agility and it's actually a lot of fun. So that's still a very cool thing. Oh, there's some BMW testing going on here as well. Yeah, but today it's all about the Mazda. So far in the driving part, as for the pure driving feeling, that was once again pretty cool. However, now one of the most important things to follow, what is it really about the range in EV and also the combined range here with the electric motor? But sound-wise here, I mean, just to give you an impression for that again, also for example in charge mode here, do you hear that? So when the rotary engine is activated and you're really slow and you hear it, now it's off again. Let's see if I can activate it one more time. There it is. Kind of sounds like a generator. Yeah, it is one. I love it when a plan comes together. But does it also come together for the Mazda Mx-30 REV, as it is called? Well, it depends. So we did an extensive test now. Motorway, quite notable speed, more than 30 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour. Then first emptied the battery, which gave us some 80 kilometers or 50 miles of range. Some 19 kilowatt hours to 100 kilometers as for the consumption, so some 3 miles per kilowatt hour. But if you then switch to city driving, the fuel consumption can go up even a little bit, but then the electric consumption goes a little bit down because the EV, of course, is more efficient, especially at lower speeds and in the city and so on. So as a combination, as a hybrid drivetrain, it can make sense somewhat. However, there stays the but that the rotary engine is still quite prominent and loud when it goes on. It just sounds like a generator or like a motorcycle engine. You maybe remember it from the BMW i3 when it had that range extender. And the thing is that the overall system, neither the petrol consumption nor the electric consumption is special efficient. So overall, when you ask me, does that whole system really make sense? I would rather say no. However, the car itself is still a great one. I love that vehicle here. Yeah, but the thing is, I would have preferred it just as a pure EV with a significant range. That would have been the best approach actually. So when does this one here, the Mx-30 REV, make sense for you? If you love that specific vehicle, but the EV was not enough range, then this one actually makes sense. In other cases, just for small city use and so on, you can just go for the EV only version or then directly go for a competitor with the higher range in a pure EV version.